Welcome back to Football Manager 2024 Surviving Luton. So after 4 years of managing Luton Town, we can effectively say that we have survived Luton. And now we just have to ask the question, is Luton going to survive after us? And that is the important factor. I mean, just look at this team. We managed to win back-to-back. And just in terms of awards and stuff like that, we did pretty well. I mean, we got a Champions League. We got two Premier League titles. We have an FA Cup, a Europa, a Sky Bets, and oh no, that wasn't us. And then three Carabao Cups as well. And we did get one Community Shield as well. Let's not forget that. Despite all the small awards that we end up getting throughout our team, we're going to kind of look to see whether or not this team does survive after us. With some decent people being wanted right now in terms of the info as well. You have Augusto that I would probably get rid of. Palmer I'd probably get rid of. Even Capriel I might want to get rid of as well, because we do have a decent signing coming in as well. Kotchap's wanted by Al Nasser, and then we have Nottingham Forest wanting Wharton. Kirodi is wanted by three clubs, one of them being a little bit big as well. So we just want to see if anything happens with that. We'll just before we end up resigning, let's see if we could get market interest. Nothing generating at all. That is kind of weird though. So that's pretty odd. But we do have the transfers that are coming in. We have William Rommins, so he will be our future goalkeeper on the team. He is a wonder kid as well. He is joining us. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the goalkeeper of the future. Van Persie's coming back as well. You have Parola that's coming in as a free agent. He looks pretty good, especially since he didn't cost us anything. And then we have Liduena, who looks like an ultimate striker. He's 6'1", and he just looks like he's going to be amazing. But we're going to effectively resign out of this club. And let's see. Yeah, we're going to have to resign. We can't retire. We're going to do this. We're going to fast forward 1 year. Let's see who ends up taking over after us. And we fast forward one season in, and it looks like they had a little bit of a problem here, around 85 million in the hole, but it does look like they've definitely fixed that in terms of finances. They're around 83 million, around 84 actually, and they do have around 50 million in the bank. So I wonder what they ended up doing season one. Season one, they ended up finishing in 13th, so it's a huge difference between finishing top of the league. We do finish around 13th, so mid-table, but still, as long as they don't get relegated, we should be fine. Let's see who ended up taking over in terms of head coach. So right after us, Mikel Arteta ends up taking over. He ends up winning 2 trophies though, but then ultimately gets sacked. So we could add this to our trophy cabinet here, Super Cup and Community Shield. So we did manage to at least get that. Who did they end up playing? They played Brentford, so yeah, that's not really saying that much. Who ended up scoring in that game? I know it doesn't really matter that much. Echeverry and O'Sullivan ended up playing that. So they changed their formation as well. They went more defensive than attacking. But Echeverry's now as an attacking right winger, which seems kind of odd. Gelhardt's now at the top left. I don't know if I like that so much. But that is the first trophy that they end up winning without us. And then second one is the Super Cup. Oh no, they end up beating Borussia Dortmund in penalties. And they adopted the same one. Our defense is doing pretty well. Carlos, Parola, and Malanka and Kabore. Romans end up starting there as well. And then Calais. So is Capril gone? Is the ultimate question. Astanis 8.7 and Lazar with 7.7. They got Nemesha. So they did do pretty good in terms of the stats there, but that is pretty interesting. So let's see what ended up happening. He ended up getting fired though. And then Craig Alcock ends up taking over for 2 games, which I don't remember ever having. He was our under 18 assistant coach who ended up taking over. Now he's with Cardiff. And is Cardiff doing well? They get relegated. So, I mean, he had a better career with Luton than he did with them. And then Rafa, we just end up cutting in through his tenure there. He has 12 games won, 8 drawn, and 13 lost. It doesn't look like they did very well without us season 1 though. Pretty interesting. Let's see what transfers they end up doing. and Parola was us. So they end up getting Dario Esuego, who doesn't look that good. He's the 8th best midfield there and championship level. That is so odd. Okay, then Mesha is the other one. I'm saying that name wrong, probably. Another midfielder as well. He's the 6th best, so he's not even good enough to really start for the team. Decent Premier League. And then they end up getting this guy on loan. And yeah, another midfielder. They were pretty solid at that. So what did they end up doing? B was the transfer that I ended up facilitating before I left, and they got rid of our wonder kid. Oh my god, what the hell? That was Arteta. The timing of it, and when they ended up doing it, we got him for 5 million, sent him on loan, and then they ended up doubling their profit. But that's still insane. He was a wonder kid. He's 6'4" center back. And it won't show me how good of a player he was. Walling ended up going on a free, but I don't think we gave up anything for him. They sent Gector on a 3.2 million loan. Okay, I guess 1.8. That's odd. He played every game for us. Now he plays every game for Frankfurt pretty much. Around 22 of them at least. And then they end up sending all these guys on loan. They send Azun on loan. Around 21 million to 26 million is what his value is. Good championship player, but he could be a very good Premier League player. And then Black ends up going as well. We did pay a decent amount for him. 11.5. He ends up getting sent on loan twice. And interesting enough, and O'Neill still on loan. Konate on loan as well. He just turned 18. But he does, like, the value looks very good. So they only spent around 34.5. How much do they have in terms of transfer? They have around 52 million in terms of transfer. If they don't do anything this season, that'll be insane. Parola, let's look at who's the top value. So Knightpin's at the top, Roman's in second. Did Romans play that much? He did not. So Capriel is still the top goalie, it looks like. Yeah, Capril's still the top goalie, but he's only a 3-star now. So Romans is already better than him, so they should get rid of Capriel. If they don't get rid of Capriel, that would be pretty stupid. Because he played 34 games. He allowed a little bit more than what he allowed double than what he did with us any of the seasons. So that is pretty insane. So already season 1, it starts to look like our team is deteriorating. They can get rid of Camaro. They can get rid of Kotchap after season 1 as well. Wharton, I'm surprised they kept on to him considering who they end up having. And then Tati as well. Let's see if they can get anything for him. So they could get 12.5 million for him. That's not bad. I would take that in a heartbeat. Tati. Oh, oopsie. So Tati, let's see what they could get for him. 11 million. So they could at least get 11 million from him. So we could double the amount that we got from him, but it doesn't look like he played at all last season. So those would be the smart moves that they would do. But I'm surprised that Azun and Gector are sent on loan considering the team that we have here. And I'm surprised, I guess they sent Sam Curtis on loan as well. So I find that kind of odd. And Romero doesn't look like he's playing that much. Let's see. No one would want him. But he might have to stay there. But it'd be interesting to see what they do in 3 years. Let's end up jumping to that. Let's see how they manage. If they end up keeping any of our players, or they completely gut them. Because for the most part, it does look like they've kept the same squad that's won the league, but they did finish in 13th. So let's see what they end up doing 3 years in the future. So 3 years in the future, it looks like they managed to at least get 8th place here. Let's see what they end up doing the season before that. See if they bounce back almost immediately. So they're around a mid-table team now. So it does look like Chelsea's fixed themselves. Liverpool, Southampton surprisingly is at the top there. And then we're just below Brighton and Tottenham. but around a mid-table finish. That isn't the worst. And then the next year, we end up finishing 8th place, above Newcastle. So it doesn't look like some of the other teams are doing as well. Let's see who got relegated there. So Wolves end up getting relegated. It'd be interesting to see if we end up getting those players. But Chelsea ends up winning one year, and then Man U ends up winning the other, which is kind of astonishing. Who won the season before that? So Man City ended up winning when we did not. So let's look at the transfers. Let's see who ends up leaving us this time. I'm kind of nervous about it. We'll do the first year. So we only, of the 50 million, we spent 12 million. That is disgusting. Yeah, 12 million. We didn't end up spending anything. That's terrible. Okay. And then on that note, so no one ended up leaving there. Okay. Other than Vuskovic, so let's look at this year. So we end up getting rid of 76 million, but we bring in David Jurisic as a left back, Sky Bet Championship player for almost 10 million. That is disgusting. Gill gets brought in as well, so they at least followed in our footsteps. They brought in, well, I guess a 6'1" center back. Decent Premier League. He can improve significantly. They only end up paying 4.1, so that's exactly like what we would do. So I do respect that. And then this one here, they end up bringing in a midfielder, another midfielder, but 22-year-old leading champion, Sky Bet Championship. But he's only 9th best, so these are very odd moves. He hasn't played yet for us. Liverpool paid 2.7, we then paid 1.5. That does seem like a move that we would do as well. But he didn't play at all for us, so that is very odd. Let's see who they got rid of. Gechter ends up leaving for 37.5 million. He's now rated around that as well, playing for Frankfurt pretty regularly. So that is a pretty decent profit. I do like that one. I think Gechter come for us free. So we got free, and then they ended up making around 40 million. So you're welcome. With that, Lewis Hall then ends up leaving as well. Yeah, he cost us 14.5. Let's say around 18 million he ended up costing us. Selling for 27 is pretty good. Okay, so potential add-ons is 27.5. So it's probably not. Oh, cost so far is 27.5. So he did end up going to play in the Sky Bets. That is very, very odd. After 9 games only playing for Fulham, then he plays a full season with them. Colette ends up leaving. They got rid of Mane as well. So Mane cost us 875k. Then we loaned him and pretty much paid that back. We then sold him for 12 million after to Mainz this season, and then he's already sold again to Southampton, coming back. But a 7.0 player, Jesus Christ. So even the players that we end up getting that we just made a profit off of, they somehow find a way to destroy it. Arujo then goes for 2.7 million. After being sold for, or 2.7, then he gets sold again for 2 million there. But cost us 7 and didn't really end up playing for us. Castellano, didn't we see that we could have got 11 million for him? We could have got 11 million for him. He ends up going for 2.6. Cala ends up going, we end up losing a bunch on that. 6 million he ends up going for. Cost us around 15.5. That is so disappointing. And he's already rated around 23 million, but he's making bank. Oh my god, that's disgusting. And O'Neill then goes on free. He goes to Wolves. So good enough to play in, I guess, League One now. So he doesn't really end up doing anything. So he was just one of those guys that we could have probably got a profit from at some point. He did come through our youth. Murphy on loan. So a bunch of guys on loan. Even Van Persie goes on loan here. He's wanted now, but he ended up going on West Brom. And then he ended up playing for us just a little bit. Only it comes on as a sub as 18 times. Okay, that's ridiculous. Breaker goes on loan as well. And nothing really ends up happening season 1. Let's look at season 2 in terms of transfers. So they get Wow Neves, who looks really good. I will give him that. So they do get another midfield. I don't know what's wrong with it. World class. So the best midfield that we've ever seen. That's for sure. Almeida is now only 3-star. 29 million. He is wanted. from Al Nasser. Okay, so we'll look at that after. We'll look at anyone that we can sell, see what we can get, and then see if they end up doing that in the future. Collins, we end up getting for 34.5, probably a midfielder as well. Let's just guess that. No, defender. So they got another defender as well. So they spent more for this guy. 34.5 million when they end up having a guy for 6 million that they end up getting rid for 9. So tell me how that makes sense. Make it make sense for me, please. And then they got a right back, which is an area where we definitely needed a player, a Sky Bet Championship player though, for 5.5 million, let's say 6. And they ended up getting a Duval as well as a left back. So both left back and right back, good enough. Not too bad, but 25 million there. And he didn't really play at all for Man City. He only really played Sky Bet Championship game. I'm very scared to see who ends up going on this. Lithuania ends up going for 12.5 million. They don't even play him. They played him one game. Doesn't get sent on loan either. Oh my god. This is going to be one of the ones that infuriate me. So they do double the profit. But since I had him here, where I sent him on loan and he got 8 goals, they only played him one game. And as a sub he came in on. And a cup game. So this is ridiculous. They've effectively ruined this guy. But he looks solid. Like, he looks very good in terms of everything. 21 years old as well. They get rid of Wharton for 2.2. We could have got more for that season 1. Oh my god. Van de Black ends up going for nothing. Signs free for Leeds, 21 million value. And is wanted by Bournemouth. Oh my god. I want to see who manages this team. Azun also 24 to 36 million. He goes on a free as well. They have ruined these players. Giving them up for absolutely nothing. Basler gets sent on loan. Baumel sent on loan as well. Baumel doesn't, and he's leaving as well. He's joining, so we're gonna have to take a look at that as well. Who's leaving, but that is gross. So that's a massive loss. So he doesn't end up playing for us at all. Baz already had the loan as well. Let's see what he's still around 20 million. Gets sent to Leicester. Has 10 goals there. Oh, so disappointing. He has 10 goals from there, which is roughly around what they did for us. And then just a bunch of people on loan. But yeah, the Jeremy Duval thing is going to be a little bit disappointing. So let's take a look at. I mean, we did finish 8th though, so I can't really say that they're that terrible. Club info: Romero is now a favorite personnel. And let's look at head coaches. So Benitez is still in charge. So we just briefly took over from, but that won't matter. He has around 55 games won, 28 drawn, and 44 lost. So, I mean, that's not the worst. So he's not managing too bad for him, but it does look like O'Sullivan is at the top. Diamande also doing pretty well. He's around 55 to 60 million. This is probably when I'd start thinking of getting rid of him, if anything. But we'll take a look at the squad here. Value-wise, Rahmans looks like he's effectively taken over. 36 Premier League games, 33 conceded. And Almeida looks like we can get rid of him. So let's see what it would take. This is probably the lowest end of it. Okay, so no one wants him. Alright, damn it. So yeah, they could get around 65 to 71 million. And that's like on the low end too. That's like getting an intermediary, so he's probably worth more than that. That's insane. So they could get that for him. Granted, they're not spending any of this money at all. And 43 million they could get. Jesus. So 43 million they could get for that. So that's around 120 million. Van Persie's also wanted as well. They could get around 30 million. And he costs us around 25. That would be kind of sad to see him go, though. But he goes, well, Palmer, let's see if we could get anything for him. He's around 40. I wonder how much he actually played. No one wants him though. But he has been playing somewhat regularly since I left. So he has kind of found his way into the team. I'm interested to see what formation they play as well. Juan Cruz, that's one of the players that they end up bringing in. He's also wanted as well. But does it look like the majority of the team is the same? Let's look at competitions wise, see if they end up doing anything with that. So head coach wise, he doesn't end up getting no cup wins, no anything. Look at the most recent season in terms of competitions. They got knocked out in the third round by Sunderland and got knocked out in the quarterfinals by Chelsea. So Echeverry doing well as well. Let's see what he's rated. Oh, he looks really good. Could also get rid of him too. He's 24. And he was a 5-star potential. He can still improve significantly. Are they not playing him? He's playing 33 games. Coming on the bench though. 27 games off the bench. You have got to be kidding me. This guy's getting ruined left, right, and center. The first season I leave, he only plays 5 games. So they just ruined him. They ruined a guy with so much potential. He could have been the next best player. I'm disappointed. So they don't end up doing that. Let's see in terms of best 11. So that is probably the better formation that they end up playing. Capriel, Carlos, Kirodia, Diamonde, and Gector. Oh, they're Gector as a right back there. So Nipin and Samu. Let's see what Nipin looks like. He's still rated pretty high. 23 years old, still with the team. Samu, is he gone? He's still there. 29. He's only worth 1.8. Are they playing him either? He was probably our best one at that time. He's good Premier League, but I guess they're still playing him. 33 games though. He is our third best. So I guess with Neves coming in, he's not really playing as integral. I guess he's just playing with him. And then Esuego, are they even playing him? 61 games though. So they're playing. So they're electing to play the guys that they bring in, but not willing to get rid of the players that we already have. And then Ramons is now the best backup, so Capriel's still in there at least. How many games did he play? He ended up playing 28 games the next season, conceding 35. And then last season he only played 5 games. But looks like he's more of a cup goalie now. And doesn't end up leaving. He's still around 30 million though, which is a fraction of what we got for him. But they should do right by him and get rid of him. Hall's still there. Malanka also still there. Is Malanka still on the team? He is on the team. So is he playing that much? Squad player, 16 games a season, not bad. He played 30 last year. So again, that's one of those guys that they should end up getting rid of as well. Bazdar's still there as well. So it'd be interesting. Let's see what ends up happening 5 seasons in the future. And I'm kind of scared because it doesn't look like they're playing any of these guys, and just looks like they're just butchering it from I guess a professional standpoint. So let's look at 5 seasons. Hopefully it gets better. So 5 seasons in the future, and it looks like it's all gone wrong. Just look at those finances. 128.5 in the hole. I'm gonna have to see what they end up doing there. League table, they're around 11th, and let's see what they did the season before. They finished 6th place though, so that's not bad at all. So they finished 6th place the season before, and I mean at least they improved a little bit. And then they finished 11th, but qualified for Champions League. So that is kind of interesting. What is this? Qualify for Europa Conference League, but they get relegated. So Aston Villa is no longer in the Premier League, but does look like effectively this team's more of like a Newcastle of the future, or maybe a Liverpool of the 90s, pretty much, but not really doing anything, or early 2000s, I guess, but not really doing anything there. So it'd be interesting to see who's still taking over for this team. So let's look at head coaches. So it looks like Benitez retired after not winning anything. They end up hiring Vincenzo Italiano, who was with Newcastle, so I guess it is fitting that they were kind of like that. So Newcastle would have been the last one, but during our save, he was with Fiorentina for the longest time. I wonder if he won anything. And FA Cup winners with Newcastle, so that's about it. Fiorentina and Europa League winners. Okay, so he did end up winning something, so it does make sense that he would have taken over. But he gets fired. Interim was Dean Burton. Is he still with the club? And he's the under 21 coach. Okay, so not too bad. But then they get Iralo, who then ends up winning an FA Cup and a Europa League. Not bad, actually. So what? I wonder if he's in the best. So yeah, Romero, myself, and Iralo. Iralo's ahead of me. That is ridiculous. An FA Cup and a Europa beats a Champions League. Well, that's disappointing. So let's take a look at some of the transfers they end up doing. I'm kind of nervous. It feels always it's going to be butchered, but actually looks like the finances first. So it just looks like it started to come 2031. Did they buy a new stadium? Where do they play? They play Power Courts, so there's no reason why. And they doesn't look like they expand. What the hell? Oh no, they did expand. 2028 to 23 and a half. But they would have already figured that out. Youth facilities upgraded first in Club Championship Fair Play Award. Is that even a thing? Okay, I guess that's a thing. 2029, so the season after I leave, they end up having it. And then Jesus Neves is captain. Capriel removed. 30 years old and what's this? Leaving on a free transfer. Yeah, they did him wrong. That's disappointing. So at least we know Capriel didn't really play that much after I left. And I'm kind of sad by that. But it doesn't look like they've done anything for that. So I really hope the transfers are going to showcase that. But kind of looks a little bit sad, if you ask me. So this season in... Oh my god, we'll go to the other one first. So they end up getting Hassan Abduali as a backup. So it doesn't look like he really plays for us at all. They signed a $26 million for another left back. Jesus. They just keep going through left backs, but at least he's good enough to play, and it looks like he's the top player. Duval being the other one, and Curioti is still at the club as well, so that seems like a missed opportunity. Claire, he looks pretty good as a right back, so they just keep focusing on left and right backs. Oh my god. And he's not even the best one. Kochab can play right back better. Diamande, even Collins and Malanka, so some of the guys still with us, clearly. And then Keita they end up getting for $7 million. Another midfielder, and he's already leaving. Oh my god, we'll have to take a closer look on that. So 5 million, doesn't play for us that much. Comes in as a sub 12 times. But let's see if the fees, see who they end up getting. So Van Persie then leaves for around 40 million. That's disappointing. So he doesn't end up playing with us. Plays for Southampton now. And I didn't see the value of it. How much is he worth? He's around 90 million value. Oh my god, okay, so yes, effectively he plays that 18 games. He then gets sold to Southampton where he scores 10 goals, probably their top striker, and then scores 13 after. I really want to see who the top goal scorer was. I'll check that after. Finally getting rid of Cole Palmer though for around 31.5 million. That's not bad. Cesar Ramirez, I don't think he played with us. Oh, looks like he might have been a regen. Oh no, it's the 7.5. So they did end up doubling their money on that, so that's not bad. That wasn't me at all. Gil as well. What they pay for him. So 4.1 the year after I leave, and then they sell him for 6, and he's worth around 30 million. Yeah, explain to me that. I don't think this is actually anyone. It's probably our youth. So they sell our youth for around 20k, so That's all she wrote. Van Bommel goes on a free. Brechter, one of our good prospects, around 17 million, who they don't develop, they don't send him on loan, don't do him on anything, and just give him free. So again, Augusto then goes on a free as well. Kurodia gets sent on loan. What the hell's happening here? Kurodia is still wanted for Tottenham wants him. 40 million. So they don't even play him. He gets sent on loan. They play him for 3 games, and then he gets sent on loan to Dortmund. So he's good enough to play for Dortmund and good enough to play for Bayern for at least half the season or a third of the season, but he's not good enough to play for Luton. That is ridiculous. Then he plays 35 games after, and he's still. How is he only a decent Premier League player? So they stunted his growth for sure because he was a 3-star player before that. So he's only gotten worse. They sent Mesha on a loan as well. Jurassic sent on a loan. Konate still on a loan. Chris Rigg, what happens with this guy? He gets sold for free after a $20 million transfer. Doesn't end up playing. You've got to be kidding me. Only ends up being a Sky Bet championship player. They even sent him to a League One team. This guy was supposed to develop into our best midfielder. So they keep getting midfielders and then they don't develop him. He's still only 24 years old. And what's his value actually? His value is around 12 million. But he's like one of the better wonder kids. So already 77 million out. How were they in such debt? Then 0 transfer in for this guy. Well, actually, that's not bad. So he's on loan too. So they don't end up. What position does he play? He plays attacking right mid. And then they send $10 million out. Jurassic then leaves. Namasha leaves. Marco Sullivan, who I don't know. I guess he was our probably through our youth. They sell him for peanuts though, so that doesn't really matter. So not even $500,000. Konate's on loan. Anderson's on loan as well. Keita, who they end up signing, who's also leaving, is on loan. So let's look at the transfers. Let's see. They're not showing any future transfers, but nothing tells me why they're that much down in finances and only have around 8.5 million now. But squad-wise, who's still on them? We'll have to look at the best 11. But Bazar's wanted as well. They could get rid of Pueta, Malanka as well. Kurodia can also go. So I'll have to take a look at those. And they still have... Where is he? So they still have Gelhardt. Gelhardt's not valued that much anymore. What happened here? 30 million, he's only around 24.5. His contract's ending this season as well. Doesn't really end up playing. Looks like he plays more of a winger than anything. Is Pedrola still here though? Because I don't see his name anywhere. So we'll have to take a look at our best 11. See if anyone ends up fitting in there, but so far it looks pretty disappointed, but they're at least still in the Premier League. So I guess that's the most important part. Pedrola here, he's still contracted to us and around 80 million. 70 million to 80 million. And he does look like he's doing very well without us as well. So he's still the top guy. Granted, they didn't play him as much as what they normally do. Coming in as a sub for most part. 8 appearances, 21 sub. Oh my god, so they have ruined this guy as well. Leading Premier League player coming out as a sub for most of the time. Lazar's still with us as well. He's valued at the same. I don't know why they wouldn't get rid of that guy either. It's one of the guys that we were going to get rid of as well. Echeverry, let's see if he played that much. He's now just rotating. So 23 games total that he starts, 14 coming as a sub, and then around split at half. So 20 and 14. But he's rated pretty high, so I wonder if Almeida ends up leaving. And what is he? He's at least a leading, so he goes back up. Okay, so I'm not too disappointed by that. Where is Almeida there? So Almeida, 31, he goes back to Boca. They let him go on a free. I'm kind of surprised that he's not in the favor personnel though. He does leave on a free. We paid 18 million for him. Ramens is still backup. He can't end up beating Gector there. But everyone that we end up getting for our team is still here at the top. Gelhart finishes with 72 goals, Pedrola with 73, Lazaro only with 29, and then Almeida with 71. And then Echeverry with 28, Romero with 30. He played 188 games. How is he favor personalities if he's not even good enough to crack the best 11? And then Palmer as well. Palmer is doing what now? He's with Newcastle. That seems like the right move. Paying 23.5 million for him not to play. That seems like the move that Newcastle would do for sure. Bazar, I think, is still with us. He's still rated pretty high, but I mean, I don't think he's done anything. So they send him on loan, and he gets 10 goals in the Premier League with Leicester. You've got to be kidding me. This is hard to watch. The top goals, I guess he's not at the top either. I thought Van Persie's, I guess, top 10. And then Tati ends up going and puts up numbers. They get rid of 2.6. He scores 13 goals. So maybe we were even wrong there, but we could have got at least 11 million for him. We could at least doubled our profits. And Latuena, the guy who we had before, who they didn't end up playing 16.5 million, he gets 13 goals. That is... A lot of our players are here. Evan Ferguson's, does that guy ever pan out? Only 66 goals. It takes him a while to develop. He has one good season when he was playing the league there. A bunch of nothings, and then 10 and 12. I guess that guy, you can consider him a flop at 21. And there's our goalie at least at the top. So no one else here. Sandro Tonali still playing now. 32 years old. Not for sale. 57 million is what they paid for him initially. Foden. So a lot of still decent stars. Ramsdale is still with Arsenal though. Doesn't end up leaving. Plays for them forever. So he ends up beating Raya, I guess, in real life maybe. And Romero. That's not our Romero, is it? No, Christian Romero. Definitely not. So wrong Romero, but we do end up winning the Champions League, or sorry, the Europa. So we'll take a closer look at that in terms of competitions. So we do beat Atletico Madrid. We're going to see the formation that they end up playing with for this. So yeah, they end up staying with the same formation that they played with before. So the one that worked for us initially, that we then switched to attacking mid, is who they end up playing. But Kotchap now, the top center back, Diamande not playing. Oh, Diamande playing. They play him as defensive midfielder and not center back. A 6'3" guy. Oh, so disappointing. He played 100 caps though. But I mean, Collins playing, Duval playing, Kirarodia, Neves, Asuego, Lazar playing as attacking left mid. Bazar played as well. Naipin played. Puerta played. And Junior even played. But Rahman's leading the team there. Junior on loan, yeah. I forgot that. And then who they end up winning in... What? Okay, so they end up winning... They beat out Liverpool. And who ended up playing for that one? I'd be interesting to see. So Romero plays for that as well. Lazar, Naipin, Neves, Diamande. So yeah, they just ruined that. Diamande playing as a defensive midfielder instead of center back. And Echeverry not even playing there. Bazar scoring. And Puerta as well. So they end up focusing more on loans and stuff like that. But they didn't do any transfers. I'm still baffled as to why their finances are so bad. Their expenditures this month isn't as bad. So let's look at their income. So the income this season is 275, and last season was 345. Whoa! So 100 million that they end up losing, and then around the same the season before. So it looks like the last season is the one that's really jumping up, but the income was at least there. It's this season that hasn't quite hit it. So what are they playing? Salaries 47 million there is what they're playing in salaries. Jesus. Okay, so that seems a bit much. How much are they paying in that? Bonuses 25 and a half. Loyalty bonus 27. Staff salary, so they're not even playing staff that much. Transfer expenditure 61. I don't last season at least. 16 they're not, so I don't know where they're doing. Loan payments is 32. I don't know where this money is coming from. Debts and loan, net debt 268. Mortgage loan is one of them, but that doesn't seem that much. 73 million was the original one. And the start date was the season after I left, so I guess that makes sense. Season after I left, they ended up getting a mortgage loan, which I don't know why. And then bank loan, they 6.25, and then another bank loan. They ended up getting the season. I think the season after I left, they got 112 million loan there, but they didn't end up doing any transfers that ended up showing it. So I don't quite get it. They're still paying around 3.5 million. So who are they? How much are they paying each player? Stannis is making around 200. Ramons is getting around 200. Lazar also. So they should have got rid of Lazar a long time ago. Neves as well. They should have probably got rid of. Well, actually, maybe not Neves. They need at least one of them. But I guess 170 is not that bad. And then a bunch of 130s for guys that aren't playing. So Bazar's not even playing that regularly. So again, they should have offloaded this guy. So that's probably what it is. You also have Gelhardt getting 110, and he's worth only like 2 million. But I guess that's also because there's a transfer fee as well. Kurodia, so you do have some bargains still. Kurodia, but again, when we focus a bit on youth and stuff, there's a lot of 100,000 players here, and I'm sure their contract has an extra bonus, at least 5% a year, which is something we tried to include or take out. Kachap not actually making as much as what I thought though. But it looks like he's nearing the end of his contract as well. So he's going to leave. So looks like a lot of the finances should be able to work out, but it does look like this team's going to suffer at least a little bit. And O'Sullivan, still top striker. Didn't pan out the way that I wanted to. 140 appearances, though. 12, I guess he's not that bad. 47 goals. And around here is when we end up letting him go, I guess. So 5, 10, 12, and 10. So effectively, that's what ends up happening with this team. But kind of disappointing, I will say. I did expect them to stay towards the top. They did at least win Europa, and they did get a decent finish last season, but still kind of bumping around the top in the middle. At least they're a top half team, so I'm not too disappointed by that. And at least they end up getting some silverware, but not nearly as much as what ended up happening when we were charged. So it is nice to see that we effectively did survive Luton, and still Luton did survive without us. So I'm still happy to see that they're in the Premier League, and a lot of the signings that we end up having with them now still staying strong despite managers kind of ruining them in the process. But I feel as though if we end up taking control of them after season 1, we would have been able to set them up for a bright future. But it does seem like they're in serious debt right now, and I'm hoping that the future isn't going to look anything like this, and they can at least bounce back and be a strong top half finish team for the rest of their tenure here. So thank you all for watching, and until next time.